The night's long shadows have dragged you through time and across worlds to kneel here before my worm-eaten throne. I offer you now this one chance to walk away with your lives and your souls intact. Please, tell me our story. Fear is a phantom without form. That is, until we give it a name and it becomes real. And then it creeps, exiled to only dark places, unless we take the time to feed it, unless we let it grow strong enough to show its face in the light. Fear's touch is faint. At first, it's just a brush against our cheek, a caress of our neck, not much more than a gust of wind, unless we choose to look at it. Until we see that fear has clawed hands that are closing around our throats tighter and tighter, until we can no longer breathe, until our heart begins to pound against our chest, until we begin to panic. We cry out, it knows us. It knows what we really are. But by then, it's too late. Rookone. It's dark now. It's the edge of twilight. As you approach the glow of civilization, a town, Har-Thelen, at the edge of Stormshire Forest, you feel the wind brush your cheek, caress your neck. Dead autumn leaves swirl up around you before they fall back to the forest floor. And then you begin to hear whispers, the whispers of lunatics that you've heard before. Red and white and black and white and red and black and white and... Rookone, you betrayed me.
I thought it was right.
Red and black and white, and you betrayed me, Rookone. And for what? For a female?
I did. Is there no recompense?
Black and white and red and white. I was your friend.
I made a mistake.
White and red and red and red and red, red, red. And then, Rokon, you hear Inza's voice, the Vistani who cursed you aloud several nights before when you refused to return a mysterious box to her. You'll reap what you sow.
My mind glances quickly at that exchange I had with the Vistani woman. If only I had given her the box sooner, or taken the box. But he breathes heavily, knowing that fate has decided the worst possible option in that exchange.
The whipping wind fades, passing deeper into the woods from where you came. The whispers that were born on that wind, they fade too, but not entirely. You can still hear them faintly, like a heartbeat, like the sounds of your own footsteps against the wet grass. Those whispers never entirely leave you.
You can tell in his posture as he's walking, he's starting to lean on his shield. And his eyes, normally they'd be alert. His eyelids are halfway down his eyes. And he's taxed mentally.
And everyone else, all of our companions, are taxed too. At the end of last episode, they'd survived both a giant the size of a small mountain and a swarm of undead kender in the forest. Rokon, you have a wound, a gaping wound in your chest that Sabria gave aid to as well as she could. You're currently injured and have 1 level of exhaustion. Avrin, you were saved, but you'd been buried alive, torn, wounded, scarred by the Kender. Sabria, you gave into your dark side. That's with you now. That blood that you let boil, it hasn't entirely calmed. And Sir Reardon, Honoria, all of you heavily exhausted, wounded, but survived. Now Honoria is unconscious. She's fallen back to sleep after falling 120 feet to the ground, lucky to be alive. But all of you now, in the states that you are at the edge of Stormshire Forest, and there, not far in the distance, 100 yards, you can see the faint glow over the town walls of a village. Sir Reardon, you recognize the position. You recognize aspects of the town. Something about the walls is familiar, but not quite the same as a town Throttle, a town that you visited once before. This town, however, you know by the signpost in front of you is Har-Thelen. Same location, different name.
Is the hill where he buried Björn, is it still there? Is the grave there?
The hill is there, but there is no grave.
He'd sigh in relief. I know this place. What it is or was. It's known as Throttle, where we looks at Rokon. where we come from. If it is indeed a village, we should be able to find an inn. But in this place, I can make no promises.
I'm out of sorts. We need, if there's light, we can at least bargain. We have things of value.
I take it that Reardon's still carrying Honoria.
He had her over his shoulder, yeah.
He would have switched that up. Yeah, he's carrying her across his arms with... He hasn't put Absolution back in its sheath yet, so he'd have her cradling Absolution as he holds her. And perhaps someone else should walk first. They don't seem to take kindly to knights.
I'll do it. Rukon uses his shield as like a walking stick and slowly walks at the lead of the party towards Har-Thelen.
Is everyone else staying behind, or are you all following Rukon?
Following
I'm
him.
following just a few steps behind Rukon.
Avon is staying by Riordan, although she's taken a couple paces.
Rukon and Avren, the two of you, both roll me a perception check. Avren's taking a couple of paces back away from the group, you said? That's a good perception check.
Yeah, but she's still close to Riordan.
The two of you both have dark vision, correct? It's part of your racial feats.
I do not believe Rukon does.
No.
I do, though.
And with the 26 perception, you'll most clearly see this, that as you get a little bit closer out of the tree line, you can see the village in front of you, and it's about 15 feet high stone walls, but with a wooden gate. It's a large, wide gate. Defensible, but not extremely fortified. The gate, the walls themselves are tall, but you can see there posted at the corners of the gate up above, looking down, a pair of stony-faced town guards that are holding torches. And it would be easy to lose the torchlight with the light that's coming up from the town behind them, but you spot them there clearly as one of them goes to scratch his nose.
Yeah, definitely keeping my eyes on them.
How far away from the gates are we?
About 100 yards. You can approach slowly, which I imagine Rukon is probably moving pretty slowly right now with how wounded Entirety is. And but yeah, it's only 100 yards.
As soon as he notices them, he looks up and he waves. Hail!
As soon as you get out the sound, immediately one of them stuffs the torch into a sconce and pulls out what looks like a light crossbow. The other one yells down to you, "Hey, you, stop there."
I'm stopped. I mean no harm.
They start to look out over the edge, trying to spot the others in the darkness. The only light that you guys have had before was the Sabria's blade, which was glowing with pink light, but it's off now, correct?
I've sheathed my weapons as we approach the walls.
So it takes them a moment as you are getting closer to the town to see all of you in the dark, and they look a little anxious. The other one draws their crossbow as well. Who are you? Why are you here?
We are a group of travelers. We've met some misfortune in the forest, but we're merely just looking for a good night's stay, maybe some food, maybe some trade.
You came from Stormshire Forest?
Correct.
Where did you travel from?
The name escapes me. I'm very exhausted. It's all in a haze. I just need to eat something.
Roll me a deception check.
Oh, sweet. I'm really awesome at deception as a barbarian. Oh, I should have rolled it. Oh. Okay. 12.
They look warily between each other, and then back down to you and say, "We're not used to getting visitors after dark. Not used to getting visitors come through the forest. No one comes through the forest."
We got lost. I'm not from around here.
Are you armed?
Yes.
Are you criminals? Answer truthfully.
I am no criminal. I'm a sailor.
And I am a priestess.
They again look between the two of each other and I'll let Sabria roll me an insight check.
$18.
You notice a slight change in their demeanor, whereas before they were anxious. Now they seem anxious and confused. There's something about what you've just said, one of you or both of you, that doesn't make sense to them.
I know it doesn't. That's why I said it.
All right, so we're at a bit of an impasse here. It's not our way to turn away people who need help, and I can see that you're hurt. But also, I don't buy what you're selling. Seeing a minotaur is a rare thing. Priestess of what?
Why? I'm a priestess of the light. And I hold my hands out and cast my light cantrip. And I hold it around to the others so they can see us.
In the back ranks, Reardon turns to Alvarin and says, "This is going to go terribly. What we need you to do is go up there, tell them that we will spend the night under house arrest before she puts on some type of fireworks show. All we need is a roof, a stable, anything. Something where we can make a fire. They can put guards all around it until the morning when they can sort it out. Parley, Alvarin."
Meanwhile, we have wounded, as you can see. We ask only a roof for the night. Perhaps a little food.
Roll me an Arcana check. As you hold this light cantrip out, this bright light shines and they can see all of you more clearly. They seem to be kind of gauging each of you one at a time. That light, though, it does begin to change the longer you hold this cantrip. The more crimson the light becomes. It begins to invade the bright white of the other light. They don't seem to notice that change particularly much, but that's something that Sabria would recognize as maybe not purposeful. One of them will call down to you and say, I can tell that you're hurt. I know that you're not in much shape to fight, but you have to understand that this is very strange, and if we let you in tonight, you can expect a visit tomorrow from the Pulitskera.
We would welcome a visit from any of your officials at any time.
All right, well, listen, if anyone asks who let you in, describe someone other than me. And he turns and begins to turn a wheel up at the top of this drawbridge, this door, and slowly the wooden doors begin to creak open in front of you. The other guard keeps his crossbow trained on you the entire time, and it slowly, the old waterlogged wood swings open, and that guard, once he finishes his crank, waves you in without saying another word.
As the gates are opening, I extinguish the light. I look back over my shoulder at Sir Reardon and raise an eyebrow, and then begin moving forward toward the gate.
Sir Reardon passes by carrying Honoria, and as he walks through the gate, he mutters, "If only these two had been on charge last time I was here," and walks in. And he means the guards, not Raccoon and Sabria.
And as we pass through the gate, I pause for a moment and look up, and my voice drops, so I'm not calling out to them, but just so that they can hear. May the light of Syrian bless you in this dark, dark land, my children.
The light of... right. Well, go on then. Is anyone hanging back, or is everybody entering together?
I'm entering.
Entering, but sticking close to the rest of the others, so I don't stick out.
As the last of you steps in through the gates begin to close behind you. And when you enter the Gothic little town, you can see that even once the sun has set, it's a little busier than what it looks like from outside the town. You can see a dozen or more depressed-looking townsfolk on the streets wearing simple, soggy clothing. The colors of the buildings here are muted, and the heavy rain has turned all of the town's roads to brown mud. Before you, just within the town gates, stands a large two-story building with gray smoke rising from each of its two chimneys. The building has a stone foundation and a sagging tile roof upon which a murder of midnight feathered birds are perched. Through the building's fogged up windows, you can spy a couple of dark silhouettes and warm yellow, what might be lantern light.
This looks like the place. However, I shouldn't be the one to go in first.
Oberyn, perhaps we can handle this one.
I was thinking Sabria myself.
I'm glad I haven't put my sword away. Perhaps not so much with the ministry, priestess.
That would be like asking you not so much with the sword, Sir Knight.
So what are we gonna do? Play a game of rock, parchment, and shears?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Rock beats parchment. Shears. No,
Reardon walks
wait,
in.
no, I messed that up. Hold on. It's been a long time, and I'm hurt. Rock beats shears. Shears beats parchment. Parchment beats rock. And
What's
then
the inside of the place look like?
So, as you're having this conversation, you will notice that the people that are out on the street this evening, they do move across the street from you. They give you a wide berth. They pay you attention. They don't run and hide, but they do their best to avoid you. And if you're approaching the building, you'll also see that there's a painted wooden sign just outside of the building. It depicts an armored knight wearing a red nightcap, holding a white pillow as though it were a shield. And above the sort of cartoonish image, the painting, are the words, "The good knights rest in trade post."
This is promising. He's going to walk in because he needs to get Honoria down and dry.
Absolutely. Is everybody going inside this building? Cool. You step in, and it's a large structure, and it's large because you can tell as you get inside that it's sort of, and the building's designed in two pieces. Part of it is very standard dilapidated to a certain extent, but maybe not as much as you'd expect. There's tables for eating. You can see a back hallway that seems to lead to a kitchen. You can smell, it smells like maybe some sort of smoked meat coming out of the back. And then a separate section of the building that is dark, but you can see it's more open. It looks like a sort of an indoor marketplace. And there's a couple of guards, standing guard in front of the marketplace, a set of stairs that lead up to a little indoor balcony above where you can see doors that look like rooms. And then there and beside the stairs, a desk, a wooden desk with a man dressed in very shoddy knight's cosplay. This is his version of like a knight's suit of armor. Not you. It's not you. There's a couple of people milling about. The two guards, the man behind the desk who immediately moves his attention to you. A couple, it looks like a young man and a young woman, sort of whispering to each other, who are up on the indoor balcony above in front of one of the rooms. And as you enter, the man behind the desk will wave you forward and say, come in. It's, are you all right?
Yes, fine, sir. I need, and he looks and finds the chimney and follows it straight up. Does that room have a chimney access?
You need a our suite has a chimney access, but
Give me that.
one step at a. Oh, all right. And then he sees the rest of you come in after. Rookon the Minotaur, Sabria the priestess, Avren. He says, all right, well, hold on a second. I assume that you're able to pay for this room.
Steel or silver?
Well, I suppose it depends. Are you able to show me what you're offering? We usually use coin here.
steel or silver coins. As per the issue of the Knights, he has several non-designated coins that are used during campaigns. They're not printed with any crown or realm. They are simply weighted with the metal. He take silver or steel.
Well, I've never seen those coins before. Hold on a second. Let me get my partner. He knows more about this sort of thing. He's a very worldly sort. I'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. Have a seat. And he kind of swings his arm over towards a couple of the wooden tables that are set out in the middle of the room, sort of like a miniature dining room.
Rukon moves over to one of the tables and tries to lumber his big self into a chair and reclines, dabbing the gaping wound in his chest to see if it's still bleeding and looking at his hand.
And I move to the nearest empty table and remove from it any objects that might be sitting on it, candles or other things. Sir Reardon, why don't you lay her here for a moment?
I'm not laying her on some tavern table. I will hold her until we have a room, preferably one with a fire. I am fine. A bit warm, but I am fine.
The guards who are watching the entrance to the darkened, closed for the night marketplace are watching you pretty coldly. One of them has his hand on the hilt of his sword, which is sheathed. It's a few long moments, but then the man in the fake knight uniform comes back out, followed behind by a man wearing a dark brown, dingy cloak. And he pulls back the hood of his cloak, and you can see that he's half elven. This is the one I was telling you about, right here. A knight? I don't even know, but he's, well, I told you about the coins. And this half elven man kind of pushes aside the slightly older man and leans over the wooden counter and smiles at you and says, "Come here, friend. Let me see what you have there."
Reardon will approach.
Well, I can say I've seen some coins in my time, but I've never seen coins like that. Where exactly did you get them?
From the treasury. Up north. Way
I see.
up north.
So you are a knight of...
Yes.
Very well. Roll me a persuasion check. Now, understand, I have to clear this, of course. I run the marketplace here during the day, and I deal with all the bartering and the intake and outtake, as it were. And I'm sure someone in my web of contacts will be able to tell me exactly what these are worth. I can take them for now. We can put you up for the night, give you dinner, give you rooms, but do understand that there will be a reconciliation.
I'd like to roll an insight check to see if this is just like a con. If
Sure.
This is just 21.
He definitely seems to have an ulterior motive.
I tell you what. We aren't going anywhere, so you won't have to run and look for us. And I will give you what I believe is fair for the rooms that you have provided. if there is some other different exchange rate beyond weight here in the beautiful town of Har-Thelen, then we will discuss it on the morrow. But for now, I want that room, the one with the fireplace.
Absolutely, of course. It's vacant tonight, so that won't be a problem. And we use the same coin that everyone in Nightland uses here, of course. You know what kind of coin that is.
Do I have a key for that room, or is the door already open?
Let me get you a key. And of course, if you have anything else to trade, feel free to stop by tomorrow at the marketplace, and perhaps you can earn yourself some other coin. He fishes out a set of keys he takes. How many keys? How many rooms?
How many beds are in that room with the fireplace?
Well, that one has 2. The rest of them have 1.
Give us one room. That one will be fine.
Are you sure? Well, it's up to you, of course. That fella there, he's large and probably will take up more than his fair. Well, whatever. Here, and he gives you the single key. Would you care for dinner?
Yes, we would.
Very well. What is it you're hungry for? If we can cook it, then I'm happy to make it for you.
What
We'll
kind
just tack it on your bill.
What kind of broth can you make?
What kind of broth do you want?
Pig bone? Do you have pig bone broth?
No, it will take us some time to make. I do have squirrel.
I have yet to try squirrel. That'll do.
Very well, and will you be eating it here, or should I have it brought up to your room?
You can do that. You can bring it up to the room.
I am capable of walking, sir.
No, normally I'm not used to that kind of service. Yeah, that would be very nice.
Very well, and is this your first time in our town?
Yes.
Well, if you have any questions, he pats the slightly older man who you first spoke to on the shoulder, who looks very uncomfortable right now. If you have any questions, ask Sir Ethan here. He knows everyone. He'll be happy to answer for you, and I'll get on those soups for you. Is there anything else you require this evening?
Do you have any alcohol?
Well, we don't carry here. We're not a tavern, but there is a tavern on the other side of town, the Wailing Banshee.
Do you have hot water?
Yes, of course.
Do you have wineskins or bladders?
I can grab some from my market stall, of course, and we'll just add that to your tab.
Splendid.
Well, enjoy your room. I'll be up in just a short while.
Yeah, Reardon, who, though it's beneath him, is tired. He has been in a constant battle for what seems like weeks now. And though he keeps it quelled most of the time, no, he doesn't. He is a lord, and this is bullshit, and he can't stand talking to these people. So he will stalk up the steps with Honoria and half kick, half open the door into the suite.
You swing the door open. It rocks against the back as it kind of slams into the wall for a moment. And the room inside is quaint but well decorated. The linens are fresh and colorful. They look heavy. There is a small fireplace in the corner of the room and a table laid out in front of it that also is in front of a barred window that looks down to the street beyond, barred to make sure that the occupants of this room couldn't be robbed by anyone climbing in from the outside.
Mm-hmm. He is going to immediately, as soon as Avrin or Sabria gets up there, he is going to, Honoria is unconscious, and because she landed in the mud, right, when she smashed down, that was the description we got.
Yeah.
So she's covered in blood and mud and drenched, and she's not the healthiest constitution-wise, if I also remember correctly. So the bladders that he ordered in the wineskins, he's going to try to make hot water bottles, try to bring her temperature back up, but he's going to wait, as decorum suggests, for Avrin and Sabria and Rukon to come up. And he's going to take a look at that cage to make sure that it can be removed.
Sabria would not have joined, by the way.
Okay. She stays down.
As you begin to move upstairs, I would have said, by your leave, Sir Knight, I'll take my meal here with the people of this place.
What about Rukon and Avrin? Do they go up to the room? Do they stay down?
As Rukon sees Riordan going up the steps with Honoria, like the sinking feeling takes him and takes control of his posture, and he fully rests down on his shield. And he gets up, feeling a strong pull outside of the inn. Stumbles way up to the front desk. Can I get some soup to go right now?
Yes, of course. Allow me to I'll go into the back and I'll grab you a bowl. There is not saying that you need it, but there is a healer in town and a hospital.
When light rises, I'll pay them a visit.
Very well. As my partner mentioned, I am Sir Ethan. Not an actual knight, of course, but it's just the part that I play.
I get it.
I'll go get that bowl of soup. I'll be right back. And the man walks to the back into the area where you can hear the clanging of pots and pans. It's the kitchen. Comes back. Yeah, he comes back just a couple of minutes later. He has soup for you. He has a bowl. He'll bring in place a bowl with a spoon down for Sabria. And is Avrin down there as well, or has she gone up to the room?
Avrin's gone up.
Okay. So he'll set out a pair of bowls for each of you, and then quietly move back behind his desk. He seems a little less talkative now.
And he takes it and finishes it off and as quickly as he can. Stumbles on his shield to the door. Takes a deep breath. It's almost like he knows where he's going. And punches the door open. Leaves it open and walks out of the inn.
Rukon, where... I stand... And to Sir Ethan, excuse me for a moment.
Well, of course, we're open all night, so there will always be someone here. Come back at any time.
And out the door after Rukon.
He cranes his neck and watches you go. You step out to follow Rukon. We'll go back upstairs for a minute. Sir Reardon, after you set down Honoria and take a look at the window, you can tell, I mean, with some effort and some force, and maybe if you have some tools of some sort, you could get the bars off that window. And Avrin joins you at this point. Avrin, you walk in as Sir Reardon is kind of like checking out the window.
Lady Avrin,
Yes.
I believe we are in a situation as dangerous as the forest. I don't think I have to tell you that, though.
Well, it doesn't help to be cautious all the time.
He turns and looks at the bars. I can use brute force, and I don't think that will help us, so you know of any way to loosen these, or perhaps make them look as if they're sturdy, but we can escape through them if we need to. I will try to. I think we all need to get warm. Noria most of all. She is not awake.
Right. I might be able to figure something out. Though, if I messed up, that feels like that's gonna go on that growing tab of yours.
I'm fine with paying it. Speaking of tabs, what happened in the woods? Not what happened to you. What happened to her?
You're gonna have to be a little more.
Our fearless leader, priestess. She is different. Or perhaps she is as she always was, and it was a deception before, but I don't think so.
We weren't together for very long before everything ran towards the woods. I hid. We were attacked by those bug-like things.
Right.
And I heard something that I had to go investigate. So I left and came back eventually to whatever happened to her.
Perhaps I am being paranoid, but the magic she employed, I've seen it before. Just not on my side. What do you think?
She's different. I don't know how. She reminds me of my father.
Ah, the lovely gentleman that we met when we first got here.
Him, yes.
And I'm rambling, I'm an old man. We have very few allies, and turning amongst ourselves is fool's errand. Apologize, I'm tired.
Like I said, it doesn't hurt to be cautious.
Does not. Lady Avron.
You don't need to call me that.
I know.
And she'll give him a bit of a half smile on a very, very tired face. And she's going to go check out that grate.
So, yeah, he's going to get Honoria as close to the fire, move the table out of the way, pull linens off the bed, just get her as warm as he can. As soon as the skins come, just hot water bottles, things like that. Believe it or not, he's a little worried that the black robe might be down for the count. And it seems that right now, the black robe might be preferable to whoever is sitting down in the bar downstairs in the guise of a priestess. Riordan scene thing.
Oh, while Avrin is checking out the window and the bars on the window, there's a small, maybe like 10, 11-year-old half-elf lad who is dressed similarly to the man who gave you the key. Looks sort of similar to, like, maybe he's related, or maybe he just happens to look similar. In either case, he comes up looking very shy, but he does have with him a tray, a couple of bowls of soup, a couple of skins filled with water. He's sort of hanging outside the door, watching Avrin at the window. Hello, what are you doing there with the window?
I'm just gonna spin. Immediately kind of just has like in a defensive position.
He kind of takes a quick step back, defensive himself, and the tray in his hand jiggles a little bit. He almost loses one of the bowls of soup, but he manages to catch it and hold it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you. Here with your soup, and I heard that you purchased 2 water skins, yeah?
Yes, son. You may leave them. Thank you very much.
All right, well, here you are. And he brings them in and he sets them down on the table in front of the window. He turns to walk out, and then he stops at just inside the door and like turns his head lowered, but his eyes up at you, and he just holds out his hand.
He puts
Enjoy
a
your-
silver and a steel in both. He doesn't know what they take, so
He takes a look at both of them and looks back at you, and he looks kind of confused. Right, well, enjoy your stay. Thank you. He pockets the coins and then steps out and closes the door behind him. If Avrin wants to check out the window, you would have told before he actually interrupted you. You would have been able to tell that if you have thieves' tools or something like that, you could probably get them off without breaking anything. It'd take just a little bit of time and a little bit of skill, but you'd be able to do it.
Yeah. She has thief tools on her. She needed to do this before break into places.
Course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for me.
Okay.
So it's not that you can't do it. It's just that it takes a little bit of time if you're being cautious to get it undone. Maybe like 10 minutes or so to get all of the bars out and detached entirely. You can set them down on the table off to the side. You could reattach them too with some effort. You'd have to make another check later, but you are able to unbar the window. What's Sir Reardon doing as she's working?
Everything that he can to keep the area defensed, keep Honoria warm. He knows that Avrin was literally pulled out of a grave. So he, at one point, will go over and he won't take her hand, but he will kind of begin to shoo her towards the table where the soup is out. You must eat or try, or hold it, get warm. Sit, if you will, Lady Avrin.
I'll do that after I finish figuring this out.
It will be fine. We can figure it out when you're warmer. Let's have soup. Join me for soup. I'm going to sit down as well.
She looks out the window again and then kind of back towards the door. And she will... Are there like curtains or anything?
There are drapes you could pull. They're open right now, but you could pull them.
Yeah, I'm going to pull them closed.
Roll me a perception check.
Great.
As you're pulling the drapes closed and glancing through the window one more time, you've seen a number of figures just moving down the street to their homes or out to other places at night. It's not overly busy, but the streets are never entirely empty. However, there's a moment right before you close the curtains that you see a man wearing slightly nicer attire than the sort of dingy garb that most of these townsfolk wear. It's a black sort of suit, and he's got a walking cane and a top hat of sorts. And this figure happens to look up at you from the street right as you're closing the curtain.
Okay. Doesn't look familiar to me at all. It's just a casual passerby.
If you want, you can open the curtain again and then roll me another perception check.
I am going to just enough to peek a eye through.
Sure. Not there. Must have moved off to a side street or inside somewhere, but he must have done so pretty quickly because it was just a moment that the curtains were closed.
Again, that kind of paranoia sets in that I'm used to having as I just close it again. And moving towards the table, we'll actually kind of flip down the hood now that we're inside. And ears not hidden. She's seen a couple of half elves here. She's a little more comfortable. And I'll just very slowly start to eat.
Reardon will too.
All right. Both of you are tired. Are you eating quietly? Is there anything else before we cut away from the scene?
No, but what he'll do is, as soon if he sees Lady Avrin finishing anything, he'll slowly slide like another bowl or a sandwich or a piece of bread over in front and just continue to have his head down as he eats. And then whatever she finishes, he just continues to slide more in front. That's it.
Great. All right. We'll move away from this dinner scene, and we'll cut back to Rookone and Sabria. Rookone, you've stepped out on the street, and it's started to rain again. It's raining pretty steadily now. You're heavily wounded, but you're staggering out into the street. And again, especially with you by yourself, the moment before Sabria's there, as people see you, they get out of they move across the street. They go out of their way to avoid you. What does Rookone do once he steps out?
He breathes the air outside of the building, kind of forces himself upright, looks around for another large building with people coming in and out, or looks to hold a larger population of people that he can see.
Yeah. So you can tell that if you were to head, you're the west side of town. If you were to head east, you would move through an area that has several large buildings. They look like large homes, though, private homes. Maybe what might pass in this town is a mansion in the wealthier area. You can see beyond that the buildings aren't as tall. You can't really make out from where you are their specifics, but you do see off in the distance, like up on the hill, lit by many lights from its windows, what appears to be a large building on the east side of town. No idea what that structure is, but there's a lot of light coming from it.
I'll head off in that direction.
And that's when Sabria steps out to the street behind you.
Rookone, where are you going?
Where I want to go. Leave me alone.
Why? I'm following along.
Stop following me.
What are you going to do? Bleed on me?
Probably.
You're not well, my friend.
Do you think any of us are well?
You're less well.
I'll live. I keep walking as all this is happening. I'm not stopping to address her.
And I'm moving quickly to keep pace beside him. I'm not asking you to come back.
I'm doing what I need to do. Go back to the inn. The rain will douse your flame.
No, it won't, but I do hate it so. I'm so cold, Rookone. I haven't been warm since we got to this place.
Well, you should have been born a Minotaur. We have these manes. That was a joke. It didn't land. Go back to the inn.
I'm reluctant to let you go alone, my friend.
There are elements of me that respect you. But none of those elements care about what you think right now.
Are you going to that tavern by any chance?
I was going to go to the flower shop. That was a joke as well. Go back to the inn.
I do wish you'd let me come along. I'm so sick of Sir Reardon and his arrogance. I don't know how you stand him. He thinks he's so much better than the rest of us.
I fought beside many great men, and there are just some things you have to tolerate.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'd prefer not to tolerate it for a couple of hours at least. I promise I won't bend your ear with some sermon or try to talk you into a bandage or anything. Just tag along.
Rukon stops, looks over his shoulder. As long as you let me buy the first round.
As long as you let me buy the second one.
He gimps to the direction that the tavern is.
The two of you pass through the town west east, and there's a number of side streets and shops and mostly homes. It's not a large town. The wealthy section of town, where there are a couple of manors, that's a short street before it's over. And beyond that, what passes is what I would say is a sort of shanty town. There are some areas of the shanty town that are literal tents. The homes there are small, more run down. And there's more people on the street here too. They all avoid you. No one approaches you, especially you, Rokon. They actively seem to divert their eyes. However, as you're moving further east and towards the hill on the east side of town, you don't reach the larger structure there on that side of town before you find the tavern, the Wailing Banshee, and it has a wooden sign out front, just like the inn. It has a cartoonish figure of a rotund banshee, a specter, singing on stage. It's like a vocal sound coming out of its mouth is painted onto the wood, and then above it says the Wailing Banshee. Inside, you can hear the sound of chatter, talking, clinking of glasses. It's not the most raucous tavern, but there are people inside, and there is light inside.
So, in like an old Western, I'm going to take the door and I'm going to fling the door open and stand in the door frame.
You do so. You fling the door open, and inside you see a tavern like many taverns that you've seen in your life, with a long bar and a single tender behind that bar. This one is an old, hard-looking elvish woman. She turns to look at you as you swing the door open. Her nose has been broken multiple times in her life. It's almost flat to her face, making her look very odd for an elf. And she's probably, I would say, the first person that looks at you in this town and then doesn't seem turned off. Like, she looks at you with curiosity and then just goes back to what she's doing. She doesn't seem to be intimidated by you. There are a few other patrons inside, all of them sitting along the bar. From where you are outside, all of the tables seem empty that you can at least see right now.
I'm going to gimp up to the bar. Bartender. What?
She stops what she's doing and looks back to you.
What do you serve here?
Ale.
That just ale.
Whiskey.
I'll take 6 shots of whiskey, please.
You got coin?
How many drinks will this get me? And he pulls out this tattered dragon flesh loincloth that the golem was wearing and sets it down on the bar.
The dragon scale, the chunk of dragon scale that he took from the dragon?
What was the piece of loincloth that I took as a trophy off of the golem?
Off of the giant, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a dragon scale. It's a dragon scale wrapping that the giant was wearing around him. You took a piece of it off, so you have a few like dragon scales. They don't smell good at all. They smell a little bit like a mixture of dead dragon and giant. Uh, that's what you slept on the bar. I just wanted to double check.
Yep. I'm like, oh, this looks disgusting. And I've scraped the back of it off. That's probably still got the organic pieces rendering to it, and put that down in the bar. Take this to a forge anywhere; it'll fetch you a fortune.
What's Sabria doing during this?
I'm looking around this establishment, just taking in the other patrons, trying to get a feel for the space. Sabria's no fool, has seen nights like this go bad very, very quickly.
Go ahead and roll me an insight check. And I will say we did get some inspirations for everybody. You all got one inspiration.
23 on the insight check.
So there's a young, at first you think they might be a couple, and then you realize that maybe they're just friends. It's a male and a female, both of them half elves, both of them very poor looking. They move away from the bar as Rookon approaches because he goes right towards them. They're the ones who are closest to him, and they find a spot at the other corner of the bar. You see sitting in a back corner, the only person at a table and not the bar is a large, broad-shouldered man with dark skin, tanned, weathered, dark hair. He's wrapped in clothing that's a little more like the desert attire that you're more used to. Above that clothing, he does have a warm-looking bear fur coat, kind of at odds with his tunic. You also see at the bar an older, elvish-looking woman, less hard in the face, much softer features, drinking from a mug of ale. She's watching what's happening with slight curiosity. And then at the other corner of the bar, right next to where the pair of younger poor people move to, is a man wearing a top hat and a black suit, long dark hair. He's drinking from a glass of probably whiskey, no ice, just sipping on it. He's not really paying much attention to you, it seems like.
Are any of them armed that I can see?
You can see that the man sitting in the table, the dimly lit corner of the room, the one with the bear fur and the desert wrappings, he has at least some sort of short sword. It looks like he might have, based on the bulk beneath his tunic at the leg, maybe several wrapped daggers, something beneath his clothes as well.
And I turn back just as Rookon is slapping the wrapping on the bar.
The bartender doesn't seem to be entirely put off by it, whereas maybe other people might have been like, what is this? Or they backed away, at least by the force of it, or how grotesque the flesh falling off the bottom of it is. She actually puts a hand on it, runs a finger along one of the scales. This is what I think it is. This real.
Yes, it is real. We just won it, as you can tell in a hard-fought battle when he exposes his chest wound.
She stares morbidly at your chest wound, kind of rubs her flat nose, grabs the scale, dragon scale that you've slapped on top of the bar, pulls it back behind the bar and lets it drop onto the floor. I'll give you 6 shots of our finest, too. And she pulls out a bottle that's not been uncorked yet, and she uncorks it and sets out 6 glasses at the bar. She friends with you? Begins pouring.
You could say so.
Oh, come on. Have a seat.
Do you have any bigger bar stools?
No.
This one's just
What we
kind
got?
of
You can stand.
fuck. Fine.
Sets out the glasses in front of you, kind of looks between you expectantly, hanging nearby for a moment. Do you say anything else?
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Just don't cause any trouble, please. And she moves off down to the other end of the bar and begins restocking glassware and others. And once she does a little bit of work, she'll actually grab that scale that she slapped down behind the bar and start dragging it towards the back room.
He brings the 6 shots closer to him, looks at Sabria, takes one, and pushes it over to her. And then, between his fingers, takes 3 of the shots and offers them up as a toast.
What shall we drink to, my friend?
Well, I'm not the one that's good with words, but I think we can agree on one way or another. Escape.
To escape.
And Rukon does this trick where he shoots it and all 3 shots pour directly into his mouth.
That's impressive.
I haven't had a drink like that in so long. And then he takes the other 2, and one after another. And then he kind of loosens up a little bit as the familiar sense of things comes back to him. Well, the next round was on you, right?
Yes, it was. I have to confess, though, I wasn't expecting to have to buy 6 shots for a round.
I bought what I needed. You get what you feel is necessary.
All right, then. Has she returned? The bartender, that is.
The bartender at this point, she would be coming out. She's cleaning off the dragon scale goop, the fleshy insides from her hands onto her apron. She comes back out and leans up against the bar. Well, that didn't take you very long. You got anything else?
A bit of silver. How much of that would it take to set that up for us again?
Silver, like jewelry or what?
Coinage, of course.
She rubs her flat nose, this nose that you're this close to her. It just looks grotesque how many times this thing has been broken, probably in bar fights. Never seen silver coin before, but we use the standard gold here. Where are you from?
I look to Rukon for a moment. We've traveled from some distance, the north. Remembering what she heard Sir Reardon say earlier.
All right, they do things differently up there, I know. Strange lot, some of those North folks. Malmene? It doesn't matter. I would. What are those worth?
She reaches into the small pouch at her side and draws out 5 silver and lays it on the bar and says, "This should be worth about whatever that was that you just took away."
Well, I doubt that. But since the Minotaur there was so generous to begin with, I suppose I can get you another round of 6. Are you sure?
I look to Racone. Are you sure?
Never been so sure of anything in my life.
6 it is.
All right, then. She scoops the silver coins off the bar. She again pulls out the nice looking bottle of whiskey, pours 6 glasses for you, sets it out in front of you. Again, and I'm just going to remind you this because you've been drinking a lot very quickly. Please, no trouble while you're here.
Do we look like the type that would make trouble?
I don't think I need to answer that. Just, enjoy yourselves quietly. She nods to you and starts to move off down to the other side of the bar.
I look down at the 6 shots lined up in front of me, and I slide 4 of them Ragone's way and keep 2.
Let's play a game. He puts...
Is this the game with the rock and the parchment? I'm confused by that.
I'm upset that you've never heard about it. It really is an amazing game. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. He puts all the shots in one corner of the bar. Let's earn these. So rock beats shears. Shears beats parchment. Parchment beats rock. And on the count of 3, we throw one of those symbols out there, and whoever wins takes a shot. It's a great problem-solving solution for me. I can't tell you how many times in my crew I've had to settle decisions with this method.
Let's do it then.
Okay, so when I say 3, not go, but on... Wait, no, how did I used to do this? I say 3, and then I say go. And then on go, you reveal the symbol that you've been thinking of this whole time. So
All right, then.
Let's do a test round right now.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go. And then, see, on go is when you do it. And then it's a tie because we both have shears.
Oh, on a tie, do we both get shots?
Well, normally on a tie we would fight, but I think I can move that rule aside.
I think that would be wise.
Okay. All right. For shot number 1. 1, 2, 3, go. You clearly put your paper after I did my rock, but I'll let you have this one because you're new. It's fine. Here, take your shot.
Both of you make me constitution checks, please.
I like this game. I'm going to use inspiration on my constitution check. Is this just a check or a saving throw?
Do a saving throw, yeah.
I was afraid of that.
We're going got a 23.
We're going to cut away from this scene after the first round of rock, paper, shears, and shoot, and move back to the end to Avrin and Sir Reardon. You've now finished your soup, taken down the bars if you desire to take down the bars from the window. That's right as you're finishing, Avrin, the last of the soup, and Sir Reardon's been feeding you extra as you go. That's where we cut back to you.
All right. That should do it.
Why don't you rest? I know we're inside indoors and there's a door and walls and a ceiling, but it never hurts to be cautious. Rest. I will stay alert. And when you've had a nap, I shall relieve you and you shall watch me.
Her eyes kind of go to the window again, just for a moment. All right. Yeah, and she'll go and she actually goes to lie down on the bed.
It's a very comfortable looking bed, and there are 2 beds in this room. Is Honoria on one of them? Is she sleeping on one of them?
Reardon had taken a lot of the linen and placed it beside the fireplace to heat up Honoria, keep her warm, and that's why I asked for one with either, chimney, like the chimney running through it or actual fire access, because they were also soaking wet. He's taken off his armor too. So for the first time ever, in this campaign at least, he simply has his cape on and the leathers that he wears beneath it. I shall watch everything. Here, there's an extra... Here's an extra blanket. And he grabs the thick comforter off one of the beds and rips it and hands it over to the one that she seems to be moving towards.
Yeah, she'll take it. Yeah, she's gonna go sleep in a bed for the first time. Because she slept upright every single time they've acted so far.
And as you sink into the bed, the pillows are plush. They melt against your body and then bounce back. The fur blanket is warm. The bed itself is very comfortable. And you have one level of exhaustion. So you're pretty tired. Is your intention to take a nap, or is your intention to just let yourself go and sleep as long as you can?
I'm just gonna sleep until, for now, a nap, and that's what we agreed on.
Reardon's not going to wake her. Yeah.
He's not going to wake her. Roll me a Constitution saving throw. Let's see if you can control this. So if you just want to take a short rest, an hour-long nap, I'll let you take an hour-long nap. That won't get rid of your exhaustion, though.
Yeah, she's gonna take a nap for now.
Lady Averin. Rest. You've earned it. Don't worry, if someone tries to come through that door, you will be the first to know.
And what about you?
Oh, I'm right as the... And he points outside. I'm right as the rain.
She looks at him and, like, his state. She saw him get beat to shit by those Kender. And so she just kind of narrows her eyes a bit.
Sleep. Absolution and I will watch the door.
All right, if you say so. And Avern will actually go to sleep.
Sir Reardon, when she falls asleep, is he literally just sitting there and watching the door? Is there anything else he's doing?
As soon as she's asleep and he can tell the even breathing, and he checks Honoria, as soon as he looks around, he doubles over and grabs his side. And he'll just stare at the door.
Avrin, you drift off to sleep and you let yourself fully fall asleep. You have a dream while you're sleeping. At first, it's a simple dream. You walking through a misty moor, tall grass. That moor gives way to the town of Har-Thelen as you've seen it, but during the daytime. As you approach, the gates swing open for you, welcoming you in. Inside, the people moving about at the street, it seems bustling, more energetic, more welcoming, at least than what you experienced as you entered at night.
Yeah, so I wander through. I'm doing the same as I always do with crowds. It's just pull the hood on, shrink, and try to stay unnoticed. Although my eyes are kind of glancing around, waiting for something.
Roll me a perception check and a stealth check. You move through the fog and the fog rises. It becomes thick. It's almost like it's following you, rolling into town with you. And you move between groups of people. They move about their day, going to the marketplace, going to work. They don't even seem to notice you. You don't even quite touch any of them. You find yourself drifting through town. And you see in the distance on the east side, the far side of town, a hill. There, a large building with many windows. You're staring at this building for a moment, and then you see a shape in the corner of your eyes. And if you were to turn and look, it's a man dressed in a black suit, wearing a top hat, walking with the help of a cane. And he has opened up a door to one of these larger mansions, one of these manors, and has stepped in front of the door and looked back over his shoulder at you.
Again, does this look like somebody I recognize?
Yes. But not who you maybe thought it was at first. You're staring, squinting, thinking, is that? No. Long, curly, dark hair underneath that top hat. Fanatical eyes. This is a man you knew several years ago, Sir Leon Barnabas. He's not in his knight's armor now. But when you see him staring at you and you can see his eyes, you know.
I stifle down the immediate surge of panic and fear upon seeing this man, you can call him that. And I am ducking behind a crowd of people, trying to escape his gaze.
You do move through a crowd and around a crowd. You can no longer see him. You can no longer see the front door of this manor. Where is she heading? Is she heading inside a building, into an alleyway? Or is she just trying to basically remove herself immediately but stay in the same area?
I think it's more, she wants to kind of stay in the same area, but she would like to not be in direct eye sight of Sir Barnabas.
Roll me a perception check. You lose sight of him and you're moving through the crowd, ducking down. They still don't seem to particularly notice you. You're taking a few steps back and then you hit a solid body. And as you turn to look up, it's him towering over you. He tips his hat just slightly towards you.
I immediately kind of whirl and take a step back.
Please don't be alarmed. You can't be hurt here. You're dreaming.
What are you doing here?
You're sick, girl. You're dirty. I want to help you. I remember you. You came to my party.
You want to help me like that girl that you drained in the fucking Iron Maidens?
You have to understand, I am sick, too. I've done things that I'm not proud of, but we're only human, you and I.
What human has a goddamn torture chamber in their fucking house?
This isn't about me, girl. This is about me offering you a chance to be saved. You don't understand what's happening to you right now, do you? It's only the first night. You'll know soon, though.
What's in it for you?
Like you, I'm new to these lands, and I find them disgusting. Unpure. I think we can make things better, but the way things are going for you right now, you're going to be one of those mindless creatures. I'm not perfect. I'm damned, but I have saved myself.
She's torn. On one hand, just being around this man that she stepped into the house of, a man that killed someone very close to her. We're down.
All right, let's hold. Hold off for a second. As she's considering, he's just watching her. There's a light in his eyes. It's a madness, but there's something sharp there, too.
Yeah, there's... On one hand, she doesn't want to speak with this man, even give him any credit to what he's saying. But on the other, she knows she has even perhaps more scared of becoming something else.
Can you feel it yet? The changing?
How did you save yourself?
There are different strains of the impurity that's infecting you, some worse than others. Yours is... I've never seen creatures like those things out in the woods, but I would not want to be that. A mindless slave for the thing in the heart of the forest. I can make you as I am, and I can teach you how to guard yourself through faith, to remain as pure as you're able to remain. It's a choice.
Through faith from a man that bloodied the floor of his temple.
Nobody's perfect, but we can all try to be better.
And her hand is in her pocket, and she's fiddling with a sliver of wood, one that she's held on to for several years now. I will need some time to think on it.
Of course, this isn't even real. You'll have to meet me, of course, if you wish to take me up on my offer. I can show you many things, girl. And he takes his cape and he extends it upwards, so he's holding it out to his side, almost like wings. All you have to do is embrace the light. You have 2 more nights. It will get harder, though.
We'll see. I do my work best in the shadows.
He stands there, looking down at you. He doesn't move.
Yeah, Averin has her head tilted up, looking at him. I'm going to roll an insight check to see if he's bullshitting me or not.
Absolutely, please do.
I am going to use an inspiration on this.
All right, you have 2 inspiration left after this.
13.
That helps a little bit. You don't think he's bullshitting you. Of course, he's insane. But you don't think he's bullshitting you.
And still clutching that sliver so hard that it's, even though it's old and worn with time, still cuts into her hand a bit. She steps away and lets the crowd separate them.
We just had a fantastic donation come in from chat. Bring that into play here in a second. You step off. You feel him behind you. If you look over your shoulder, he's not there anymore. But you feel his eyes, and you remember that mad gleam, that fanaticism in his eyes. He is gone. And as you step off through the crowd, you find yourself wandering, exhausted. Roll me a Constitution saving throw. You do not recover from your level of exhaustion, even though you do take a long rest. This is how it gets worse. Sir Reardon, you are keeping watch on the door. Nobody comes in. He's wounded, he's hurt too. Avrin seems to be sleeping soundly. At some point, about 2 hours into her sleep, she begins breathing raggedly. She starts clawing at her face and her neck.
He would stand up and go over, and because he has and had friends that slept by the fire with their weapons, dwarves and kender, he will shield himself with one hand from her potential attacks as he gently shakes her shoulder. Lady Avrin. Lady Avrin.
She does not wake up, but she does begin to breathe a little more slowly, a little more normally.
He'll pull the chair a bit closer to the bed, making sure that his periphery is Avrin and the door.
Roll me a perception check.
Sure. Tired and I'm old.
You're
Strong
staring
5, though.
Strong 5. It's a strong 5. You're staring straight ahead, keeping an eye on the door and Avrin at the same time. You don't hear something outside until something smashes into the window and there's a slight crack.
He'll stand up, place his hand around Absolution, check on both of his wards, Noria and Avrin, and go to the window and use the tip of Absolution to move the drape aside a bit.
You move the drape aside, and what you see is the beak of one of those black ravens that had been perched up above the inn. It's sticking partially into the window. It's cracked the window. Its body is limp. This is a dead bird that had flown into the window and gotten stuck there. and is just laying flat against the window right now.
He'll pull the drape aside a bit more and stare at the bird through the glass. I'm sorry.
You hear something behind you.
He'll slowly turn with absolution out.
Avrin's not in the bed.
Lady
She's on the
Avrin?
ceiling.
Well, shit.
Her feet and her hands are pushing up into the wood of the ceiling. Her eyes are closed, but her mouth is open. She hisses down at you, and then she falls.
Falls as in falls upon me, or falls as in she just drops?
She's dropping. She's not right above you. She'll drop to the ground unless you grab her. Or
Oh, he's definitely going to try to catch her, yeah.
Yeah. Make me an athletics check.
Strong 10.
Okay. Throwing something up in Zoom chat for you.
Great.
So...
My bad, sorry.
So she falls. You are able to like throw your body and partially capture. She still hits the ground, but she doesn't hit it too hard. And she's breathing steadily, deep sleep.
Right. He tucks her in a bit. He doesn't want to tie her in. That's the next step, but he'll tuck her in, and he finds one of the mugs that they brought up and puts it at the foot of the bed. So if she moves against the sheets, presumably it'll fall and break. Something a Kender taught him a long time ago.
She continues to sleep. And we're going to cut away from this scene here and back to the tavern with Sabria and Rookone, who've now collectively been drinking and playing drinking games. We cut to the last of their rock parchment shears game, the last shot. You're tied. This is the tiebreaker. And you're both holding your own pretty well. You've been drinking a lot, but Sabria, you rolled, that's probably the best drinking roll I've ever seen. 2 natural 20s. Rookone, you're probably surprised because you're a little drunker than Sabria is right now.
Yep. Yeah, totally. That's why this means so much.
My friend, you've not been drinking your share. I feel as though I should just let you win this last one.
I've been trying. You're just a fucking natural. So let us settle this.
All right.
This last one for all. Now, maybe I let you have some of the other ones. Maybe I didn't. Regardless. Regardless. On go. So not after go. On go. 1, 2, 3. Sign. Whatever it is you're gonna do. Okay. I don't want you cheating.
I'm offended, my friend. I would never. I am a woman of the cloth.
What does that mean?
Less than I once imagined, apparently. All right, so on go. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That is correct. Okay. So, ready?
Ready?
1, 2.
No, wait.
Yeah, what?
I'm Sorry, I'm just going to say a quick prayer just in case.
Just in case what? Listen, if
All right, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, okay, right. I hope that fucking helped.
Me too.
Go.
All right.
1, 2, 3, go. It's a tie.
Still tied.
We fight. And then he puts his hand on her shoulder, like firmness, like he's half joking about the fighting.
And she still crumbles just a little.
Okay, now this one, okay, this is the real one.
All right.
1, 2, 3, go. Fuck.
Oh, the prayer didn't work though. And
I almost can't feel this giant burning I have in my chest. I was coming to drink here for a whole nother reason than what actually happened. I'm actually having a good time.
What reason were you coming then?
And his body language changes and he looks down at the bar. We should go.
Perhaps we should. Are we settled here? To the bartender.
She looks down from the other end of the bar where she's been kind of having a low conversation with the young half elves. And she doesn't approach you, but she does call back down to you. Yes, you took very good care of me. If you ever come back in here, please do ask for me. If I'm not on, I'll happy to come in. If I'm off duty, I'll take good care of you and your friend. I'm Willowsby.
Willowsby. We'll do just that then.
We walk home safe. This area of town, this late at night. Yeah, well, I'm sure you can take care of yourself, but it can be a little shady.
What? How long have you been tending this bar?
I used to be a cook, and I got tired of that. Working here at the Wailing Banshee for 15 years.
Well, you've got some fine spirits.
Thank you. There's not a lot of competition, so it all comes to us. How long are you staying in town for?
Well, between 1 night and 6 years, so any amount of time between that.
She slowly approached you again from the other end, and now she's leaning in front of you. Well, word to the wise, and I only say this because I get the feeling that you don't know how things work around here. Let me ask you this, and just answer me honestly. Are you from Polyphero?
He looks over at Sabria and looks back. Polyphero?
Wait, Polyphero? You're not from Nightland. That much is clear. So you must be from Polyphero. Yes.
I must be from Polyphero. What is that a problem?
Well, yes. It's an executable problem that you have. And if the Politskera find out, well, they will execute you. That is the rule of the law here in Nightland. So this is a word to the wise. Disguise yourselves better. Try to fit in more. And be careful of who you talk to and how honest you are, because some of the Politskera look like town guards, and then some. And she glances down to the other end of the bar to the other older elven matron, the one who has softer features and is more nicely dressed. Some are more hidden. Consider this a thank you for the kind tip you gave me.
Thank you. I hope it serves you well. And so,
Right. Anything else you need?
nope. I'm just, oh, I'm very tired.
If there is, we know where to find it, Willisby. Thank you. And she leans in a bit. And may the blessings of the Lord of Light be upon you and upon this place.
Right. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. There's been no Lord of Light in this land in 400 years. And she rubs her broken, flat nose. But thank you.
And Rukon starts stumbling out on his shield and goes out of the tavern.
Sabria follows, but then turns toward the gentleman that Willisby pointed out and slowly approaches his table.
So she didn't point to the man who's dressed in the bear fur.
No.
The one who's armed. She pointed to the other old elven female, this one with softer features and nicer.
Got it. To her then.
She smiles at you as you approach her, and she's just finishing up a mug of ale. She's by herself at the bar. Hello.
Good evening. I understand that, and I lean in a bit. Well, I'm afraid there may be some trouble brewing. And I understand that you're one who should know about such things.
Well, I'm the town healer. I'm happy to help you if you're hurt. Your friend there, he did not look well.
To make sure that I've understood correctly, this is the one that she pointed toward and indicated might be Politskera.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, you're quite right. He is not well, neither of us are. We encountered things in the forest. We barely got away with our lives.
Oh my, you came from Stormshire Forest?
I've heard it called that, yes. I don't know. We're new to this place.
Oh, well, where are you from? If you don't mind my asking.
I don't mind at all, but I'm afraid it wouldn't mean much to you. I'm not sure we're from this land at all.
Oh dear. Are you hurt?
I show her just a bit of my wounds. I am. My friend is hurt worse.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have a tent in the market during the days. I have a shop on the east side of town with a little office in the back. I'm happy to take a look at your wounds and Please, no. Wherever you come from, you're safe now. This town isn't perfect, but we take care of our own. I would not go back into those woods, though.
Oh, no. Nor would I, ever, if I could avoid it.
At this point in time, Rukon wonders why Sabria hasn't followed him out, and he steps back into the tavern. Like, weren't we going? I'm sorry. Hello, young lady.
Oh, is something wrong with his eyes? Never mind. What can I do for you tonight? Anything?
I just wanted to. My friend and I were leaving. She didn't follow behind me. I thought something might be amiss.
I just had a sense about her, and I was right, Rokon. She's the healer. And back to her, I know it's wrong of me to ask, but is there any way that you could help us tonight? As you have seen, we can make it worth your while.
Well, listen, I don't want any trouble, and there are people in this town. They're called the Politskera. If you're new to this town, they're going to want to question you. Once you're questioned, then I'm happy to help you. But if I help you before then, I risk losing the license to my business. And I have to be careful. You see, these people, the Politskera, they're everywhere. Sometimes you don't even know who they are. And she looks down the bar towards Willowsby and then looks back to you.
You have your ways, like everyone else. That's fine. We can respect those, right, Sabria? We can respect those.
Of course. Of course. That's very kind of you to... That's very kind of you to tell us. Thank you.
So, see, all we have to do is go back to the inn and suffer and risk death for the night, and then come back in the morning and we'll be questioned and we'll be good as new. It's a win-win.
Yes, I'm sure that is the case.
So, let's nap over it, shall we?
All right, then. I didn't get your name.
Oh, I'm Krolantha. You're at the inn? You're staying at the inn?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll be at the market right there in the morning, the trade post.
Very well, then. We'll find you then, I suppose. I hope.
Oh, of course, of course. As soon as you've spoken to the Politskera, I'm happy to help you.
All right. And I turn to go.
She gives you a smile as you turn polite, and then she turns back to her mug, takes a sip.
As Sabria walks past, I watch her for a couple moments more just to see how she reacts after our interaction.
Roll me an insight check.
A hearty 5?
She looks back over her shoulder and meets your gaze as you glance back and gives you a sort of like a pitying smile. She seems concerned, but trying to still be kind.
And then He gimps out of the tavern and walks down the street next to Sabria. This is
It's
fucked.
what
This is fucked. This whole thing.
And Sabria walks and talks as if she's completely sober, despite how much she's had to drink. That's a good word for it, my friend. In fact, I strongly suspect that if we take our rest in that room tonight, that we'll all be dead before lunch.
Well, then we've set up a trap for the others. We can't let them suffer the consequences of our actions.
Or perhaps we need to at least let them know.
Yep, that's one thing we can agree on. And then he gimps faster towards the inn.
Mm-hmm.
the streets are much quieter now. It's no longer twilight or even early night. It's pretty late. There's still a few people here and there, and they still avoid you as well as they can. Both of you can roll me perception checks on your way back to the inn.
Solid 10.
And a 17.
Sabria, you'll hear some sort of commotion, voices, alarmed, but from the other side of town. If the inn is on the west side of town where the gate is, this is from the east towards that hill and the larger building on the east side of town.
I look to see if Rukon has noticed, and if he hasn't, I don't point it out.
I don't.
And we continue
So-
making our way toward the inn.
All right. You continue to the inn, and the cries of alarm seem to die down after a minute. You swing open the door and enter back into the inn. It's still Sir Ethan there behind the desk. He's the only person now. Even the guards are gone. At least they're not visible standing in front of the marketplace.
Good evening, Sir Ethan.
Good evening. I'm glad that you enjoyed your first night in Har-Thelen.
We did very much.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. Is there anything that I can do for you? Or are you just going to retire for the evening?
You know, I left that bowl of soup and bread on the table. I wonder if there might be anyone who could fetch a little more for me from the kitchen.
Oh, of course. Of course. We have plenty of soup. That is not a problem. One moment, and he'll retreat back into the kitchen.
I'll wait.
Okay. It doesn't take him long. He returns with a fresh, steaming bowl of soup, bread that's not stale. And he sets it down in front of you on the table rather than handing it to you directly. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and I will ask you, please. I heard a little bit of commotion from your room upstairs, and I don't want to sound like a coward, but I didn't think it was my place to knock and ask. But if there's any sort of trouble, or if anyone needs anything,
The knight has sleep apnea.
Oh, well, we do have a healer, Krolantha. She comes here during the day, and she is also an herbalist. She sells various balms and such that might be useful.
I'll consider letting him know. Thank you.
No.
I follow Rukon up the stairs, but as I step by Sir Ethan, I lean close to say, "Healer, I heard she was Politskera."
Roll me a persuasion check.
I'll take inspiration here.
All right. Oh, that does
14.
help. He looks, as soon as you whisper to him, he looks taken aback. Swallows and leans in. He says, well, I don't know about that for sure. The thing about the Politskera, of course, is, well, you know what happens to them if their identities are outed.
I don't. I'm new to this place, Ethan.
Of course. Well, the Politskera, they are to remain secret. That is how they best serve and protect Har-Thelen. If their identities are outed, they're executed, of course, immediately.
How many executions do you guys have here in a given period of time?
Well, usually not too many. It's a quiet town without too much trouble. There are other towns that have more trouble than us, but we're lucky. And, well, our Lord Speaker, Mason, does a very good job taking care of us here.
So, like in a given moon cycle, take you.
I don't know. There are people, of course, who like to go out and watch the executions. It's entertainment to them, but personally, I find it disdainful. I don't want to watch anyone suffer, even a criminal.
Right, but like how many happen?
I don't know, half a dozen, maybe.
Thank you.
Right.
And so when they come for us in the morning, we can expect them to come masked, disguised?
Well, no, the ones that'll come will be the guards, the ones that are not secret, the ones who are obviously part of the Politskera. You have the two branches. You have the guards, and then you have the ones who remain hidden.
I see. Yes, I'm sure that would be quite efficient at keeping the order for your speaker. Is that what you called him?
Yes, Lord Speaker Mason.
He must be very wise.
Well, he's popular. Popular with the people.
But to have come up with such an effective and efficient system of keeping order.
Oh, well, it's not his system, of course. He just executes the system.
I see what you did there. Executes. That's quite comical.
I didn't mean, no, I mean, I didn't mean, I don't go in for the gallows humor, usually.
No, I see. Whose system is it then?
Oh, the Lord of the Lands, of course.
Ah, of course. Well, good night.
But good night. Good night. Please take care of yourself. And if you need anything, I'll be on shift here for another hour or so. And then it'll be the boy. And I'll see you tomorrow in either case.
Very well.
He retreats back behind his counter.
We make our way upstairs.
Walks up the stairs and his weight starts to shift as he is not 100% in control of the precision of his steps.
We cut back to Sir Reardon now. Averin has continued to sleep. Besides that one instance, she seems to be sleeping deeply, peacefully. What's Reardon doing after the incident?
He has moved a bit now, so he pushes his back up against the the stone of the chimney proper. So he can see the door, the window, and in front of him, Averin. And every so often, he will look down at the black-robed mage bundled in the comforter with the water bottles. Believe it or not, could use your counsel right now. But if sleep is what you need, dream of a way out of this mess. I'll just wait.
Sometime later, that Sabria, following behind Rokon, right?
Yes.
Enter into the room, and you are reunited. Averin and Honoria still sleeping deeply.
We might have a problem. We might. I'm not sure, but it sounds shitty. Hello. I hope you've been resting well. It came up a little and I tasted it. I'm sorry.
Fascinating.
So it turns out there is some fuckery afoot.
Ah, fuckery, you say?
Yes. So there's a type of people who are secret and point at other people and they get executed. They have had 6 executions in the last moon cycle in this town, and it's too small for that.
Well, at least you all were keeping a low profile out and about.
All outsiders are executed, Sir Reardon. That's the information that our low profile purchased for us.
Well, that's fantastic. I guess we should head north then, shouldn't we? He starts to put his armor back on.
Do you want to do it now or do you want to sleep first?
You should all rest.
You have rested already?
This is as good a time of any to get some rest. We are in an inn, of course. Averin has been sleeping. We have all rested. Noria is still sleeping. I think it's time that your low-key carousing is rewarded with some rest.
You didn't answer the question.
Didn't I?
Have you slept?
I have rested.
What honor is there in equivocation, Sir Reardon? You need it as much as the rest of us do, and frankly, your sword is too important to fall because of your damn pride.
As you say.
This seems like a great time for me to go to sleep while you have this conversation. So, Rukon moves to the door, puts his back against it. Is the door a push open door or a pull open door?
The door is from your end, pull open, from the outside, push open.
Okay. So he's going to put his back against the door so it cannot be opened, and put his head on his shield and drape his arms over and go to sleep. Because if they want to get through then the door, they got to push through 300 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal.
And so Rokon is out.
think we would do well to leave before they come for us.
He's strapping on his armor. As you say.
So you won't sleep.
I'm getting mixed messages, priestess. You say that we should leave before they get here. And you're saying we should sleep. One cannot be done in conjunction with the other.
We could rest for a short time. Leave early before sunrise.
Well, I shall sleep beside the twisted steel. And he'll go over and lean against the wall, keeping his eyes on Oberon and Honoria. And Sabria.
Sabria does exactly what I'm doing right now. So she's trying to think of something to say that will help him to see how foolish he's being. But when she realizes that that is itself a fool's errand, she will is there room on the bed next to Honoria?
Honoria's
Both
on the
their-
ground in front of the...
Oh, she is. Okay.
And there's two beds too. So there's room next to Averin on her bed, room for at least two comfortably. And there's room for two comfortably on the other bed as well.
I'll climb into the other bed.
Does Sabria go to sleep easily?
Yes. Yes, she does. She has a warm belly full of whiskey. She's dry and the fire is warm. She does. She sleeps. In fact, she's probably asleep before her head hits the pillow.
And what about Sir Reardon?
So Reardon will check on the twisted steel beside him, and he will sleep for 4 hours and not a second longer.
And that is something that Sir Reardon is able to do, to take his long rest in 4 hours.
It is.
All of you, including Honoria, who will be back with us next week, congratulations. You are able to successfully take a long rest. Rookone, you never stopped hearing whispers, not entirely, not since the moment they started. They hang with you. You can forget that they're there sometimes, but every once in a while, you'll remember them. You'll remember the whispers when you hear them, like you remember that the sound of your breathing exists. That when you take a step, it leaves an imprint in the earth. It's easy to forget most of the time, but every once in a while, you remember that whisper is with you. Not audible most of the time, not understandable most of the time, but just before you drift to sleep, you do hear another whisper clearly, another voice that you recognize. This one belonged to a creature with a simian head and long, distended limbs, a hairy body. who whispered into a necklace adorned with 13 human ears, who seemed to shepherd over a hillside full of lunatics picking white roses under the moonlight. Come to me, Rokon. Sit beside me and your friend in the moonlight. Together, we may howl at the moon. It feels good to howl sometimes, doesn't it?
And that's what I'm going to sleep to?
That is how we end our episode for tonight. Happy dreams, everyone. I think some of you will dream better than others. But yay.
Dang.
Congratulations. We had an episode with no combat. Everyone got a long rest. Everything was super chill. We'll go around in a circle like we always do. I'll have poll results here shortly. But I just want to say this is one of my favorite episodes we've done so far. This one was a lot of fun, totally different than stuff that we've done before. And we're at civilization now, so things are a little bit different than the wilderness and the wild. But yeah, I love this episode. Go around, tell us where we can find you, what you're up to, what you're thinking, whatever you like. And let's start with Allison.
Yeah, this was also one of my favorite episodes. I knew, oh my God, Billy, when you pulled out the rock parchment shears thing, and then the callback, it was some of the most fun I've had role playing. It was, what a blast. Yeah, I just love the opportunity to, without combat, to really build into the relationships that are forming between these characters. It's so much fun. We were this close to combat. You know that, right? We were this close.
I feel like a few times, yeah.
It's a good thing that healer wasn't more inclined to follow us out the door. Let's just say that. That's it for this week, I suppose, other than so much gratitude. So much gratitude to this whole group. At Legion out there in chat, you got to know that while we're throwing down and fighting and throwing the insults in role play, back here in our Zoom chat and our secret chat, we're all like, I love you guys, I love you so much. So yeah, it's such a joy to get to play with these friends. You can find me on Twitter at Allison Robinson and catch all of the kind of interesting stuff that I'm doing. Most interesting of all, I think anyway, starting on Sunday night, February the 10th, less than 2 weeks away, our new Pulp Cthulhu adventure, Project Hyperion, set in the Pacific Theater in the early days of World War II, 1942, and kind of the game that is hoping to inherit the legacy of Project Athena, sort of the flagship of the channel here. Greg will be there. Dawn will be there, which I think is the first time we've had a chance to announce that. And since I'm the keeper, I can say anything I want. So Don's going to be there as well. Excited to get to welcome him to the team. And we're starting again. That'll be starting on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, starting on not this Sunday, but next, February the 10th. And hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I've said it many times. I love Project Athena, Project Kronos. I love that world that Greg has built, that built this channel. And I love that it's continuing in a different decade, in a different area with a different flavor and a new keeper too. I'm really excited to see what you do, Allison. You are an awesome world builder, and I have a feeling we're in for something special. So yeah, February 10th, please everybody check that out. It's gonna be sweet. Let's go to Allison's drinking buddy for the night. I felt like it was not a scene that I expected to happen, but I was so happy that it did.
So good.
I was also happy that Allison and Sabria double critted and outdrank the Minotaur. I feel like it's a classic fantasy tavern trope. But really,
gotta let that happen, man. This was an awesome episode. Yeah, the roleplay was so solid. You can follow me at Bill of the Forest on Twitter. Special shout out to everyone in chat and all the YouTubers out there paying us a watch. It's greatly appreciated. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I expected it to go somewhere different. And I'm Allison, I'm glad you tagged along, because if you did not tag along, it was going to go to a real dark place. Oh man, I just want it to be next week already. This is so much fun. I have so much fun playing with y'all. Chat. This is one of the finest chat rooms I've been a part of since my early days on AOL, pretending to be a wizard. But thanks everyone for this opportunity. Greg, thanks for putting this on your channel. It's extremely grateful to be able to do this with all y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the shout out to role playing on AOL, that was a thing. That was the precursor to everything. Like what's
Red Dragon Inn.
Red Dragon Inn.
Red
Absolutely. I spent so many hours there. Racked up so much money on my dial-up modem. So yeah, thanks, Bill. And let's move over to Kiana. How are you doing, Kiana?
Oh man. Oh, that was so good. Yeah, just having quiet RP moments is always my favorite, because you really get to delve into the relationships and stuff. Riordan and Averin bonding was something I wasn't expecting and I really enjoyed. Averin actually letting down her guard a little bit. And I'm so sorry, Riordan, that you have to deal with her bullshit now. I've got to say, that's not where I thought that whole thing was going. Dawn and I discussed it over the break about what happened to Averin in order for her to come back. That was not the way I was expecting it to come up, but here we are. So everything's fine, guys. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Not like I have to go talk to a motherfucker and make a deal with the devil. It's great. It's okay. I'll just keep saying that until it comes true, right?
Maybe he's not that bad.
Uh-huh. Right, sure. But you guys can find me over on Twitter at KinaUs. Best way to figure out what I'm doing, because I'm all over the internet playing games almost every day of the week. But you can find me over here on this channel on Mondays for Wild Blue Yonder, which is super fun Lady Blackbird campaign run by that salty ginger, Lauren. You can also find me on the Discord. I am kind of the Discord master, I guess, for Tales from the Grim. It's a great place where we all like to hang out and chat. We have dedicated little rooms for each show, so we can, get to talk about the show and decompress afterwards. So definitely come and join us on Discord, because it's a really fun time. And we'll be announcing some really cool stuff that the team, Dawn and Lauren and Greg and I have been working on. Super excited to announce that stuff soon. So come join us over there, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah. And I want to say too, I got the chance last week, between last episode and this episode, to play Bluebeard's Bride with Kiana on her new channel, Salty Sweet Games. I have never played Bluebeard's Bride. I've heard great things about it. I would highly recommend it. And Kiana is an excellent keeper. So if you get the chance to watch any of her Bluebeard's games, Bluebeard's Bride's games, I highly recommend it. It's if you like horror, which if you're watching this, I assume you can at least tolerate it, then I highly recommend it. Before I pass it off to Greg, I just want to say I had a great time tonight. I always do. Thank you, chat, for hanging out. Thank you guys for all your support. can't wait for next week. This is the start of a new chapter for us in terms of the story. It can still go anywhere, but I've been looking forward to this particular side of things for a little while now, and I'm very interested to see where you guys take it and how you guys deal with everything. But until next week, I'm at Donathan Fry on Twitter. I do other games as well, and I write things. But if you follow me there, you will see all of that. In the meantime, I am going to pass it off to Greg.
Fantastic. And Kiana, I didn't mean to bury when my auto dawn went off. If you want to put Salty Sweet back in again, I pushed it up the chat.
It's all good.
It just spams, and I saw that and I was like, oh shit, as it. So yeah, just throw that back down there. I had a great time. This is super duper fun. I tell everybody my favorite part of the week is putting on cold chainmail. It was especially cold today. And my worst part of the week is taking off warm chainmail, because I know I won't be Sir Reardon again for another week and play with these great people. Like Allison said, we're butting heads, but there's nothing but love here in the chat. I really like this one. In a weird, bizarre way, I sort of like the ability of Reardon, obviously, to have moments with Oberyn. And knowing Oberyn's backstory, how important that kind of was, not for Reardon really. And I kind of like to be that I don't know, anti-tropey thing. But I even liked the Honoria's unconscious Reardon moments. I don't know why. I just think that Reardon's on an island, and I'm looking for anybody that's going to help that isn't turning completely crazy. Allison. So yeah. Yeah, you can find me. I'm Grimjack21502 on the Twitters. You are at Tales from the Grim on the Twitch. A lot of super duper fun things coming up on the channel. The aforementioned Lady Blackbird game. We have Dungeon of the Mad Mage tomorrow night. We have a lot of really fun announcements that are going to be coming as soon as next week about our games here. And then coming a week from Super Bowl Sunday, February 10th, again, the same night that Hyperion premieres, we are going to have from 4 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern the episode 0 of Highlander If on a Winter's Night. It is Cypher System, and we are going to take a jaunt through the ages with Summer and Tall Squall and Bird and Alice from Scraticus Academy and Pruitt, and I'm forgetting, and Trendane as Oni the Mad Eagle. I can't wait to get into all of this. It's going to be super duper fun. But until then, I'm done. Just come back here next week, and I realize the smile on my face when we go live is because I'm wearing cold chainmail. Dawn, anything else?
Absolutely. As always, please roll me charisma saving throws for corruption.
And look, Greg, Sabria does not suffer from corruption. She's loving every second of it.
That's what I said, batshit crazy.
That is my third crit of the night, or fourth crit of the night, by the way. Jeez. But
all right,
it's on the wrong side of the line.
It's on the wrong side, though. I mean, Sir Reardon, you do save your corruption saving throw. Everyone else fails. So here is how that plays out. First off, does Rookone have any corruption? Does Oberyn have any corruption currently? I didn't think so.
Does Oberyn have any? I think she does, yeah.
Okay. Oberyn, roll me 1d8 and then roll me another d8.
What? 2?
So Oberyn, you gain 7 corruption, and then you lose 2 corruption from winning the subscriber poll to fight corruption. So they voted for you, so you only gain a net of 5 corruption. Does that put you at 10?
I was at 6.
Now you're at 10. So that means that the light still shines will not protect you this episode. You do win with a tiebreaker. Rookone and Oberyn both win, and light still shines. You both gain 1 corruption reduction to 0. but that doesn't protect you this episode. So you, Avrin, you will shift, and you'll have to make the choice. You don't have to tell us now. You can go more chaotic. You can go more evil. That's going to happen, though. The other result, of course, is that, like I mentioned, Rookon and Avrin, you both win. The light still shines. Rookon and Sabria, roll me 1d8.
5.
A 2.
Okay. So, Rookon, you spend one of your protections. You are still at 0 corruption, Rookon. Sabria, you gain 5 more corruption. You're already halfway to wherever it is you're going.
I think we all know where I'm going. There's only one way to go. There's only one destination on this journey.
Yes, and you're going there very quickly the last 3 episodes, and I love it. I love it. I'll say this before we go tonight. I'm still not 100% sure which way. I think I have a guess, but I'm not going to say, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to find that out. I'll be excited to find out how Avrin tips when we all wake up for our second day in Har-Thelen next Wednesday. But that's all I've got. Thank you all for being here. Can't wait. Love you.
By the way, if the healer had gone outside, we would have known exactly what alignment the priestess is.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I won't say what I know it is. Anywho, love you all. Please watch all these people across the internets on all of the channels, the Scraticus Academy, Off the Table, Unmade Gaming, Encounter Roleplay, obviously Salty Sweet Games, everywhere that you can find people to have fun and play and tell a collective narrative. I'll be there, we'll be there, we'll all be there, because this is a community and telling stories is what we do. But as the campfire goes down, there's only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s, but you can always role play. Good night, my friends.